My golden child brother stole my new car and my parents told me to forgive him, but I wasn't going to let that slide, and now he's in jail. Ever since my brother was born, my parents treated him like he was made of glass. My mom was actually told that she could never conceive after she had me, so when she got pregnant again, everyone called it a miracle child, and they made sure to spoil him after he was born. I was told to not go near him because I could hurt him. They went on a vacation to Bali with my brother but left me with my grandparents, even though I begged them to take me along. On my 10th birthday, all I wanted was to go to the playground for a while and enjoy myself, but they decided that it was more important to go and buy new clothes for their other child. As my brother grew up, he realized that he could ask for literally anything, and my parents would never say no. He would ask to play with my toys, and suddenly they would become his forever. Because I always spoke up about how unfair my parents were treating us, he took offense to that. He would break things around the house like a flower pot or a beer glass, and then blame it on me. And of course, my parents had to take his side. In fact, they even asked him how he wanted me to be punished, to which he would say, grounded for a whole week. Since he did that so often, my parents considered me a problem child and refused to celebrate my birthdays. When I was 13, I asked them why they treated us so differently, and their reply was, your brother was a gift from God, and looking at how much trouble you have been causing recently, we are glad we have another child to rely on for the future. I was so distraught over my parents not loving me that I cried myself to sleep that night. I was even bullied at school because I didn't have any stuff while my brother had all the new gadgets. But I didn't fall into depression, and instead decided to prove to them that I'm not a useless son. I graduated from high school as a valedictorian and thought that they would praise me, but my brother didn't like that the spotlight was on me and decided to throw a tantrum about not getting enough attention. So instead of going to my graduation party, my parents took him to his favorite restaurant and treated him to a giant meal. That day onwards, I decided to just keep to myself. I was still living under their roof, but I hardly talked to anyone and only went down for lunch and dinner. It wasn't easy to do that as they were always worried about my brother and what he was doing anyway. I got a full scholarship to the college of my choice and began focusing on my studies. I impressed one of my freshman professors and got hired as his assistant the following year. When my brother turned 18, our parents bought him a brand new car, even though he hadn't even applied for any colleges, and he made sure to flaunt it in my face by saying, why don't you go out with friends on car trips like I do? Oops, I forgot that you don't have a car in the first place. That lit another fire inside me, and I began working on buying my own car. But I didn't just want to settle for a cheap model and wanted to outdo him. After all, buying something more expensive than his car with my own money would be the perfect revenge in my opinion. So I got a job and started saving up money. I had to live with my parents so I could save up on rent, but I tolerated their abuse for the sake of my goal. One of my friends told me that his dad owned a car dealership and could help me out, so I went over with all the money I had at the moment in the hopes of securing a car. To my surprise, my friend had already told his dad about my situation, and he agreed to lend me a second-hand Dodge Challenger if I paid him a certain amount every month. I asked him why he was doing this for a stranger, but he just laughed and said that if his son praised me, then I must be a good person. I am successful enough to not worry about my finances, and the thing that matters to me the most is my son's happiness. That is what he told me, and I was absolutely elated because I loved the car. I immediately drove it around for a bit, but had to go home because I was getting sleepy. I had already decided to begin looking for an apartment at that point, but never would I have guessed that my brother would do something terrible. He saw my car parked in the driveway and threw a tantrum to our parents about how it was unfair that my car was better than his, but since I had bought it with my own money, there was nothing they could do for him. Thinking that I had finally gotten some payback, I went to sleep and put my car keys on my desk. But when I woke up the next day, I noticed that the keys were gone. I rushed outside and was shocked to see that the car was also missing, and so was my brother. I asked my parents about what was going on, and they said they had no idea. I waited for a few minutes and called some of my friends, but no one knew where the car was. I was getting really anxious about the whole situation, and that's when my brother pulled up into our driveway, only that he was in my car and not his. Both the front and back bumper on my car were missing, and the driver's window was slightly cracked. I ran out shouting, "What did you do to my car?" But he just shrugged his shoulders and laughed. Well, I decided to take it for a spin because this baby deserves a good driver, but turns out that it's actually a piece of trash and just fell apart on its own. Looks like you got scammed on this one. My eyes actually began to fill up with tears as I saw how he had wrecked my car and was clearly lying about it. I screamed at him, "You stole my car and crashed it just because you were jealous." But at this point, my parents decided to step in and once again take his side. My mother hugged him and asked if he was all right, while my dad said, "You can't accuse someone like that. He wouldn't lie about crashing your car, and you need to believe your family's words." When I pointed out that he had literally stolen my car, they said that he only borrowed it and that I should just let it go. They didn't even wait for my response and just began walking back inside. But little did they know, I had a trick up my sleeve. You see, I already knew that the golden child was going to try something like this, and prepared for it by installing a camera inside my car. I immediately called the cops and explained the situation, and showed them the clip as proof. They knocked on my door, and to the absolute horror of my parents, arrested my brother for stealing my car.